Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Jacqueline. I'm from the support team here at Podio, and today I'll be talking about using Podio for project management. To give you an idea of how this session will go, this is part of a series of webinars we're doing to show our users some of the most common use cases for Podio. And this webinar is the last webinar in the series. So within the last month, we've done an intranet webinar and a sales and CRM webinar. And our goal in doing these is to give you some ideas for how you and your team can get more work done with Podio and hopefully show you some of the possibilities that you might not have known about. This webinar is scheduled for the full hour, but more realistically, it should be about 30 minutes. So I'll spend the first 10 to 15 minutes talking about using Podio for project management, and then I'll open it up for questions at the end. If you have a question during the session and you'd prefer to ask via the questions pane, feel free to do that. My colleague Bartan is also here, and he'll be going through those questions to get those answered. So without further ado, I will go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Okay, so you should all see my screen here. This is a test account that we've set up, or just an example account. And this is a workspace that I've set up for my project management within my organization. So you can see here, it's just a regular workspace within my organization that's called Never Work Alone. So here on the workspace dashboard, we've added a few tiles just to give us a good overview of what's going on within the workspace. This is what everyone is going to see when they first click to see the workspace. So this is a really great area to show just a bird's eye view of what's going on within your project. So you can see we've added some tiles just to show which projects we have working on, deadlines that are coming up. Here's a progress tile that shows the status of our different projects. Personalize it a little bit with a photo of the team. We have a calendar tile, and then this is a meetings app tile to show the different meetings we have coming up. So now we have a series of apps. This is just the bare bones of what a project management setup could look like. So of course you can always add additional apps if you want to do other things like budgeting or anything else that you want to add, but this is just the bare minimum that you can use for project management. So you can see we have 4 apps here. We have projects, which of course is going to be the main area for your projects. Deliverables are sometimes called milestones or actions. It's really just all of the things that need to take place in order to complete the project. Timesheets is where we will track all of the time for our projects, and then meetings is where we will organize meetings with our colleagues or with clients, with anyone related to our projects. So let's dive in then, and we'll show you how we have this set up. So here's our projects app. This is where you will get the main information for an overall project. So let's look at this one I have as an example, flyer for Century 21. And this is really, it's a simple Podio app that just has various fields for all of the different content that we want to show in each project. So here we have some simple text fields just to show the name of the project. Here we have a relationship field, which is actually pointing to an app within our sales and CRM workspace. It's pointing to our client's app. So say you have, you're using Podio for your CRM, or if you just have a global app for all of your contacts, this is a relationship field that we use so we can reference those contacts. And just to show you how that's set up, I'm going to dive into the template via this modify template button. And here it is, it's called customer, and this is just a simple relationship field. So here's where you will set it up on the left here, and you will click choose an app. And you can see here that we've tied it to our leads and clients app. So this means we get to reference any item within this leads and clients app from our projects app. Okay, and then moving on, I'll leave the template for now. And then we have just simple project description, the type of project so that we can differentiate, different types. And of course, this is fully customizable. These are just the categories that we've chosen to add. You can add or remove different types via the template. You can set the date, again, pretty straightforward. Here's a progress bar where you can kind of denote how far along your project is. And this is manually changeable. So the budget is something that I would actually like to get into later because this deals with calculation fields and it's related to our deliverables app. So I'd like to explain how the deliverables work first, and then I'll get back to that later. Project manager, simple contact field, just lets you say who's in charge of the project. So you can see I can add any of the workspace members here. This particular workspace only has 2 members, so I can select either of those 2 people here. Stage, again, category field just lets us denote which stage in the process our project is in. Meetings, this is another relationship field similar to what we were talking about up here. This one is pointing to our meetings app. And this lets us actually create a new meeting right from the project. So let's say I need to meet with my team to speak about this project. I can create a new meeting right here. And this will automatically be related to that project. And I can invite any of my colleagues. You can actually invite anyone. They don't have to be a workspace member. They don't even have to be a Podio member. You can just enter any email address here, and they'll get an email letting them know they were added to this meeting. You can add your agenda. This is just a text field where you can write what you'd like to talk about. If you want to track meeting minutes, you can do it here. If you're meeting off-site, you can use this field here. And this is actually, I believe this is a map field, so you can actually add a map. Yeah. So if you're meeting off-site, you just type in an address here and it appears on a map, and that way anyone with access to this item can easily see where their meeting is taking place. So now that I've saved that meeting, you can see that it's automatically tied to my project already. It's taken me back to the project. And now it's there for me to access right from the project here. Okay, and then that's the gist of the projects app. Now let's look at our deliverables app. So one of the common questions we get is what's the difference between deliverables and tasks? So as you know, you can set up Podio tasks. Podio tasks are more like quick to-dos. So we use them on our team for more just personal things that don't really need any collaboration or communication. So I'll use it for reminders if I need to read something or if I need to follow up with someone. That's the ideal use case for a task. Deliverables are more for things that you need to collaborate on or things that you really need to track. So, and they're things that you want your team to have visibility over. So here you'll see we have all of our deliverables listed, and right now we're looking at all of them, but you can use a filter if you want to see the deliverables for specific projects. So here's the filter menu here at the top, and then here's all of the fields that I can filter by. I'm going to find the project field, so here's the related project, and let's say I only want to see the deliverables for that flyer for 21st Century Project. Now here's these 2 deliverables. And this gives you an easy way if you're working on a specific project for the day and you don't want to be bogged down with all of the deliverables within your app. You only want to see what's related to what you're working on. The filters are really going to be helpful for you there. So let's just take a look at a specific deliverable. It's very similar to the projects app in terms of how it's laid out with different fields. So here's just the name of the deliverable. This related project is another one of those relationship fields, and that's tied to the projects app. So that's what lets us say which project the deliverable is in reference to. The description, you can just add any details there. Date field for your deadline. Here's where you can say which stage it's in. You can record the progress here. Another contact field to show who it's related to. And then now we can get into talking about the budget. So here you see we have this budget field. So I've said that this deliverable has a budget of $35. And then if you see here in this second deliverable, we've added a budget of $20. So that means the total budget for this project with all of its deliverables is $55. So that's the amount that we have scheduled out. So let's go back to the projects app and let's go to that Century 21 project. You can see here we've allocated $100 in budget, or we've given $100 in the budget for this project. So this allocated budget field, what this does is it sums up all of the budget fields in the deliverables. And let me just show you what that looks like. So this is using a calculation field. Here we go. So This is a calculation field for the allocated budget, and what this is going to do is it's just going to add up the deliverable budgets, and that's the field that we just looked at in the deliverables app. So let me just set this up from scratch just so you can see what it looks like. You're going to type at to find a variable, and the field we want is deliverable budget, and we want to add it up. So we're going to say sum of deliverable budget, and that's going to take all of those and just add them up. So then we have this other field to show the total project budget minus what we have already allocated. So that shows what we have left. So what we've done is we've taken the total project budget and then just subtracted it from this allocated budget field. So just again to show project budget. So just find that here in the drop down, select it, and it's highlighted in blue when it's a variable from your app or from a different app. So total project budget and then minus allocated budget. So that's how that works. And this gives you a really easy way to automatically see how much money you have left to allocate on your project. So this is just a simple example to show you how that can work. So now moving on to timesheets. Some people like to track the time on their projects. So this is one app that you can use for that. So as you can see here, it's really each time you spend time on a deliverable, you add an item to this app. So for example, let's say, let me grab an example for, let's see one of the names of the deliverables we want to add time on. So let's see, we want to add time to work on copy. Let's say I just spent some time this morning on that. So let's see. And that was myself. And then this is a relationship field pointing to my deliverables app. So that way I can designate which deliverable I just worked on. So here it is right here. And let's say that was today. And I spent 2 hours on it. And then if you want, you can include the hourly rate here. So let's say 100 an hour. And this total cost is a calculation field, which will just multiply my hourly rate times the time spent. So here's an example timesheet. And this shows 2 hours times $100, that's $200. And again, that's just another calculation field that shows the time spent times the hourly rate. So very simple to set up. Okay, now let's say you want to report on this data. It's nice that you can see how much time you spent on this deliverable. Let's say we want to see how much time we've spent on each deliverable. You can build a report for that. So I'm going to build a brand new report, and I want to calculate, and I want to do the time spent and show the sum per deliverable. So what this is going to do is it's going to show me it's going to calculate how much time was spent on each deliverable in a nice list like this. And if you're on the premium tier of Podio, you can do line or bar charts. That doesn't really make sense for this particular report, but that is an option for other types of reports like budgeting or time management, stuff like that. So I will click next, and I'm going to save this just to the reports page for my app, and we'll say time spent per deliverable, and our unit is in hours. So now we can see this report that I just created, and now I can see how much time I've spent on each deliverable, and that gives me an easy way, if you want to do, if you need to do billing or anything like that, it gives you an easy way to sum all that up. Another option could be to relate, instead of to the deliverable field, to the projects field. If you want to be able to track the total time spent on the overall project instead of the deliverable, that's another option. So just always keep in mind that Podio is very, very customizable. So if one particular setup doesn't really make sense, it's usually pretty easy to modify your apps to fit closer to what you'd prefer to do. Okay, and then lastly, we have the Meetings app. This is very straightforward. This is an event app. You can see here the meeting I just created for the project. And this is just where we can add any type of meeting that we need to do with any team member, any external user. And again, you can invite anybody with their email address and they'll get an email asking them to join. Okay, so that is the basics, and now I will go ahead and open up for questions. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and use the little hand raise icon on the GoToWebinar control panel. It's in the little bar on the left with all the buttons, so you can just use that if you have any questions. Okay, looks like Mary has a question. Hi,
Yeah.
Mary.
Hi. I am wondering, I saw as far as the budget goes, the subtraction and automatic calculation is pretty nice.
Mhm.
Is that possible to do in an inventory type app as well? And do you have any canned inventory apps that we can use?
You know, that's actually one of the use cases that I usually don't recommend using Podio for. There's not really an easy way to use Podio for inventory management. So when I get that question, I usually recommend looking for other tools because, you know, when you want to set it up, you would actually need to have some developer help with our API to get the full functionality going.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, doesn't look like anyone else has any other questions, so we'll make this one short and sweet. So thank you guys for attending. I hope this was really helpful. And just as a side note, we have been recording all of these sessions in this series, and we've been uploading them to our help center. So if you go to help.podio.com and you go to our Getting Started section here, you'll find this webinars section, and this is where we've put all of the webinars that we've done thus far. So we'll be uploading this session there as well, so you can share it with your colleagues if you'd like to view it at another time. Actually see that Malcolm has a question now. Hi, Malcolm. Yeah,
Hi,
I
can
hear
you
you.
hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, how do you link how do you do calculations linking information from other apps?
Ah, yes, it's a great question. So the apps have to be related via a relationship field in order for you to be able to pull from different apps. So do you remember how I was showing you the relationship field pointing to this
Yeah.
customer app? So this
Hmm.
means that I can use any fields within this Leads app within a calculation field from this app. So it's any related app through relationship field.
Okay,
Great, thanks.
thank you.
Okay, and I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. So again, hope this was helpful, you guys. And if anyone has any questions after the session, don't hesitate to write to me. It's Jacqueline@podio.com, or from our help center, you can also click this contact support link at the top, and we're more than happy to help you out. So thanks for attending and enjoy the rest of your days.